Oh, that event, Tiny, we were talking about going to is now, Barney has just sent an email. It is now going to be in August. Yay. 1st of August. Okay. We have eager beavers on.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Tiny. It's
Panelists.
Ricardo.
Ricardo.
Hello. Do you need video?
Okay. Ricardo, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'll mute. Ricardo, can you hear me? I'm doing it again. It's my, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I had my thingy in. Ricardo, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Can you hear me?
I can. Okay, we have some eager beavers that have joined early.
Okay.
So we need to be careful what we say. We can't be telling people right now that actual trading is a waste of time and all that sort of stuff, because we've got some clients on. So
Yes, of course. Do you need my video?
if you, what's that, Tony?
Yeah, you recorded his video.
Can you put your video on, or do I need to unlock your video?
I think you need to unlock. It says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Okay.
She has that habit, Ricardo. She's very eager.
No, Paul, it's fine. You can stay. It's absolutely fine. Okay. Give me a sec, Ricardo.
Okay.
I am always forgetting how to do this. More. It's down here, isn't it? Allow panelists to start video.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
I can go stop my video and cool faces.
Okay, you should be able to go now, Ricardo.
Okay.
Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. So far, so good.
Good, excellent. Ricardo, I promise, I know everybody is really grateful that you've given up your time today. I must admit,
My pleasure.
You're working from home, yes? Come on.
Yes, I am.
I'm left-handed. So we have Kevin, who's one of our coaches.
Hi, Kevin.
Morning.
Morning. All good, thank you.
There we go. Okay. We've got about 4 minutes, and we'll kick off in about 4 minutes, Ricardo.
Okay.
So you're working from home, yeah?
Indeed, yes. The challenging times, so we need to protect ourselves and especially protect others by not spreading it. So the 99% of my colleagues are now home-based. There's only a couple of people in the office to deal with technical issues if they come up. But this is in the London office, of course. Other offices as well, they're also staffed. But in London, we're all working from home now. So it's a learning curve for us. It's a complete change of setting. So hopefully everything will stay, okay. I hope.
Hopefully. Yeah, I'm this screen shakes.
Yes, I noticed.
That's why I always look at you. I actually am calling this a Black Swan event. So
yes,
I've ever experienced anything like this, and so but we'll go into that in a bit more detail in a couple of minutes. But yeah, so I've actually, one of the things, I had a book coming out in about 2 weeks. I had a book coming out about entrepreneurship and building wealth, and I'm now rewriting it. So to make, because it's not really that relevant right now. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. So I'm rewriting it now to deal with the Black Swan.
Yes.
I call it, building financial empowerment and resilience over this Black Swan. So,
yes.
Because I think there's great opportunities. So.
100%. There's opportunities, definitely.
Just a quick question, Ricardo. What is your role in ActiveTrades?
Well, I wear several hats. So I am CEO of ActiveTrades Europe SA, which is the Luxembourg entity, which will be taking off sometime in the near future. And I am also a senior analyst. So I'll be wearing my senior analyst hat here.
Okay, senior analyst. So CEO of ActiveTrades
Europe SA.
Europe.
So that's the Luxembourg subsidiary of ActiveTrades.
Ah, yes, I remember you talking about
the ActiveTrades holding. Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Unfortunately, I can't travel to Luxembourg at the moment. So
yeah, absolutely. So the senior, because you were on Bloomberg recently, during the election, wasn't it? Yeah, and you were there,
I've done
analyst.
Yes, I've done a few analysis. I've had a few appearances as an analyst, Bloomberg, CNBC, and others as well.
Cool.
And now, ActiveTrades.
Yeah, there we go.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right.
Looking forward to it.
All right, guys, are beginning to pile on now. Locked in with Mr. Bates. Yes, I know.
Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No.
It's like a nightmare story.
Apparently, Contagion is becoming an extremely popular movie to watch at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and Outbreak as well.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of Outbreak.
And there's also a pandemic, I think.
Oh, stop!
That's yes. I started watching that on Netflix. It's a series on Netflix. It's quite good, but it pales in comparison with what's going on now. I mean, it's nothing. It still talks about normal flu and swine flu and things like that. And
Right.
compared to what we have now, that's nothing.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. All right. Let's kick off then. Hi, guys, and welcome. Have we got more people coming in? Yep. Cool. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, Ricardo, thank you so much for joining us.
My
guys,
pleasure.
if you do not know Ricardo, he is CEO of ActiveTrades Euro SA, but his role here, and senior analyst for ActiveTrades, his role and the perspective and the hat he's wearing here with us today is as a senior analyst. Okay, so on behalf of the Tribe of Traders, Ricardo, I really deeply appreciate you taking time out to speak to us. We're in very uncertain waters, uncharted waters for everybody. So nobody has answers, clear answers. Nobody knows what's going on. And the best we can do is deal with the facts that are in front of us. Could you just share from your perspective, from a broker as a senior analyst, what you think is what your side of the story is as a broker and senior analysis of what's going on in the market?
Well, from the point of view of a broker, this is it's an interesting time for sure. It's a time of opportunity, and we've seen a massive increase in trading volumes, an increase of around 40% since mid-February. So business actually improved for us. This is obviously the result of more of our clients staying at home and having more time to trade. I'm guessing that we are not alone in this, and other brokers will probably be experiencing a similar dynamic. And this is also the result of the markets being under the spotlight at the moment. So with the markets under the spotlight, many people that were not actively trading are now becoming once again involved and reactivated accounts, open new accounts, and so we're seeing a big increase in trading volumes. And the third factor that plays into this, of course, it's the actual volatility of the market. Volatility increased in the markets. We've all heard about it. We've all maybe experienced it if we trade. And volatility is something that needs to be managed carefully, obviously. But without volatility, there are no opportunities to trade. And therefore the current situation in the markets presents traders with opportunities, and therefore more people are going in, more people are opening positions, and more people are following the markets in the way that perhaps they didn't do a while back, when the markets were somewhere in the backstage, in the background, still on people's minds, but not as present as they are now. So to summarize for us, these are obviously troublesome times. No one wishes for times like this. However, they do represent an opportunity for firms like ours, and these times represent an opportunity as well for people interested in the markets to trade, because there's volatility and there's opportunities.
100%. Oh, there they go, the builders. 100%. Yes. Paul has put in a comment on. You're on that.
People are.
Okay, some people are just battling to get on, so we're tiny sorting that out. 100%. I think I think the volatility is very interesting at the moment. What would you say, Ricardo, is driving that volatility? Is it people looking to make the most of this opportunity? Because the market represents the emotions of traders, of society, doesn't it, really? So is it people that are, is it fear-based trading that's going on? Or is it people looking to make the most of these opportunities? What's creating that, do you think?
Well, I mean, there are different angles from which we can look at the issue. There's definitely fear driven by uncertainty. It's still, to some extent, unknown how long the disruption caused by the coronavirus will last for, and also how intense this disruption will be. I mean, there's still a lot of uncertainty. What is happening at the moment, as we all know, is coming to a standstill, pretty much. All but essential services within the context of the economic activity are coming to a standstill, and this is having a massive impact. So many firms are suffering the impact. So firms in hotel and tourism, in aviation, but not only, in many fields. And with the prospects for these firms becoming bleaker, investors walk away from them and try to alienate the positions they may be holding in these firms, because there will be less people interested in buying, due to the fact that they are also aware of the difficulties these firms are facing and will face in the future. If there's sellers and there's no buyers, prices go down. So this is one of the drivers behind the current market dynamics. But if we look, if we take a step backwards and have a wider and analyze what's going on from a wider perspective, we will see that the main dynamic behind all of this is uncertainty, and uncertainty drives volatility, and the volatility then reacts to any announcement that comes out. So like last night, we saw that the White House and Congress in the US failed to come to an agreement on the rescue package. This obviously had a massive impact, and this morning all the major indexes were down, and the futures, of course, and the American futures of the S&P 500 stopped trading because they very quickly reached the drop of 5%, which triggers that safety mechanism. So I would say that we have fear, it's true. We have uncertainty, it's true. And of course, we have the people that are out there to take advantage of this. And if you are at home and you're stuck at home, why not take advantage of this? Remember that, for example, with CFDs, you can short. So you can short. If you think that an index is going down, you can open a position betting that the market is going to short. So this is a trading opportunity. You can short currencies. If you think that the euro is going to go down against the dollar, for example, or vice versa, you can short those currencies. So there are many trading opportunities, and this is the third factor that feeds into this volatility. It's people jumping in to take advantage of these opportunities.
100%. Yeah, that was 100%. We and in Tribal Traders, we are primarily forex. It's what we mainly do. And would you say that when the indices like indexes are going down, where are they investing? Are they going into forex when they're taking it out of indices? Is it going into forex, do you think?
Yes, it's a very interesting dynamic, and we can see a clear correlation between the drop, for example, of the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the rise of the dollar. The dollar has been going up. So many people are alienating positions or are coming into a trade out situation, unfortunately, which is a margin call in positions in American shares, for example. So when they sell their American shares, they get their dollars back. Okay, so they get money back. So there's more demand for dollars, and this drives and less supply, and this drives up the value of the dollar. And we've seen a very interesting dynamic for the dollar over the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
Where the dollar gained more than 8.5% in relation to the Japanese yen, for example. And this is really remarkable because the Japanese yen is the safe haven currency per excellence. So normally at times of trouble, everybody looks into the Japanese yen and to a lesser extent to the Swiss franc.
Yes.
However, in this case here, we've seen that because so many people were looking for dollars, there was a reduction in dollar liquidity, which pushed up the value of the dollar. So we can see here a correlation between the behavior of stocks, the behavior of indices, and that of a currency, in this case, the dollar.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that creates opportunity for us to capitalize on that. So
absolutely, it's a great trading opportunity.
Yeah. So what I was saying at the beginning is that I'm calling this a black swan event, and it'll go down, I'm sure, as a black swan. And like anything with a black swan event, is one of the definitions of a black swan event is, in retrospect, in hindsight, you can see things that you should have been able to see when you're in it, and the benefits and ways in which you could have capitalized on it. So what I'm urging the tribe to do is to increase the level of self-awareness, manage their state, stay away and out of fear, and trade what they see, and not what they're hearing. So purely technical, because what we're seeing technically, irrespective of the fundamentals that's going on, irrespective of whatever the noise is or the fear and the media, is that the technical patterns are still in place. They're in trending patterns. So if it's ranging, it's ranging. But on the trends, they're still following the same pattern as they always would. Like, for example, for us, we rely a lot on moving averages. There's still a respect on moving averages from a technical perspective. And I think that's important to understand, that despite everything that's going on, and despite the fear, despite the panic, despite the uncertainty, the market is still acting like it always would act. It's respect. It's not doing things out of character. And I think that people need to take comfort from that. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I think that is spot on. There is a lot of noise at the moment. We all know that to trade, one of the most important aspects that you need to manage is the mental aspect, is the psychological aspect, and keep emotions under control. Emotions like fear, like greed, and all the media noise about the current situation, which of course is normal, is creating a massive distraction for traders, and is triggering fear. Really, I mean, fear is the prevailing emotion in the current environment, and trying to filter this noise out, as you said, it's fundamental. You need to look at technicals at this stage. Look at technicals, of course. Keep your feet on the ground. Don't just look at technicals, but look at technicals as well. Don't let the constant flow of negativity coming from the news, the constant flow of fear that is being fed by the constant stream of negative news. Don't let this influence the way you trade. Look at things with a cool head, with a sharp eye, and for that, nothing better than using technical analysis to keep things in perspective.
Cool, excellent. That's a wonderful answer. Thank you. One other question, Ricardo, before I go to anyone else, if anyone else has got questions, start typing your questions now, guys. Sorry, Tony? Put them in the Q&A, guys, will you? Please put them in the Q&A. If you've got questions, I don't want you bitching to me or complaining to me or trying to find out broker information from me. Okay, here's your opportunity, all right? Ricardo's given up his time, so come on, ask questions, okay, right now. I've given you plenty of notice. But here's a question, Ricardo, I'd love to know from you. I don't know if you might not even have this answer because, again, this is uncharted territory. With the world economy, with economy shutting down and trade therefore shutting down to a large extent, apart from the bare essentials, what impact will that have on trading in terms of governments exchanging currencies, and where you've got major corporates exchanging currencies, and the sale of oil and gas and so on, utilities and changing currencies as a result? What impact will the lack or the lower volume of that have on the actual markets, do you think? Do you think we will notice a difference?
You mean in the forex markets?
Yes, in forex. Yes, yeah. So
well, it's already having a big impact. The forex market is the more liquid market out there. It's got a daily trading volume, or it has a daily trading volume. Now I'm not sure what it is, but it was in the region of $5 trillion per day.
Yeah.
So this is it's by far, I mean, it's more than all the other markets put together.
Yeah.
So of course that I mean, it's obvious, it's unavoidable that the reduction in economic activity will also slow down the flows in the forex market. So there will be less people using their euros in Europe to buy Japanese yen so that they can pay a Japanese supplier because their factory is closed, for example. There will be less people looking to buy Chinese yuan to pay Chinese suppliers because they are not buying anything at the moment. Tourism, which is one of the main economic activities globally, has come to a standstill. So less people will be looking to buy foreign currency for their holidays. All of this feeds into the equation, and of course there is an impact that is already being felt and will continue. However, that is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is the ability to protect yourself against exposure. And many people out there are still exposed. There's all of the currency out there in the market is held by someone. Someone has it, and someone will want to offset their exposure and will try to play the market sentiment in order to maximize their gains. So if you're sitting on the pile of currency that is devaluing, you will try to get rid of it. You will try to go and buy something else instead and give that one that you don't want to keep. So there is an impact, of course. The real economy is coming to a standstill, but people will still want to trade, and trade is still happening. And as I said, for us as a retail broker, okay, we are a retail broker, so we have to make that clear. We are not in the global interbank. We're not one of the 20 or 30 entities that make up the global forex interbank system. Okay, we are a retail broker. So for us, volumes are much higher now than they were, say, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But this is because more people are at home, more people are following the news, more people have the markets now in their subconscious, etc. But globally, there will be a reduction, but there will never be a standstill.
No.
Because someone somewhere is sitting on this money, and they will still want to trade it, to navigate these uncharted waters that we're going through.
100%. Yeah, I think that's very reassuring. I think the fact that your volumes are so up, you said 40% up, I think it's incredibly encouraging for people here. And like, now's the time, in actual fact, to build up tremendous resilience in trading. So.
Yes. Yeah, I can see a question here, which it's in capital, so I just saw it. It's from Michael Frederick.
Yes.
And he's saying, why has the gold price tanked so much, and how does it impact the overall market? It's a very good question, really good question. Once again, gold is a safe haven. So during times of trouble, we would expect gold to do well, and more people to seek refuge in gold. However, what's happened here is that many people that had gold had to sell it in order to cover margin calls, because shares tanked so much. The share value of many assets out there dropped. I mean, S&P, FTSE, DAX, CAC, everywhere. And so to avoid margin call, many people that were sitting on gold sold it. And this is the main reason why gold has not gone up. The other reason is the demand for physical gold. So we know that China and India are the main buyers of gold, and with this crisis, that demand for physical gold declined, and this is the other explanation for the drop in gold price.
Cool. Okay, cool. So Maro, what are the best instruments to trade on intraday in this particular state of the market?
Yes, that's a very good question as well. I would rather not give you a black and white answer and say, okay, you should trade this and not that, for several reasons. That the main one being that this will always be a biased answer based on my own sentiment. What I think you should trade is what you know the best. So what you've been trading, what you've been following. Don't get carried away by the news, by something being under the spotlight. Don't want to jump in and trade something you don't know well. So if you want to trade intraday, if you want to trade volatility, trade something that you know well, okay? And as has been said here before, as I said earlier, keep your emotions in check. Look at technical analysis. Don't just look at the news. Don't panic. Don't get greedy. And the best way to do this is being comfortable with what you're doing. And to be comfortable, you should trade something you know well.
Yeah, 100%. I love that answer.
Good answer.
Brilliant answer.
That's 100%. Yeah, take note, guys. Take note. Okay, the next questions are pretty much the same. So Lynette, why are the spreads so wide on Swiss pairs? Is it only Swiss? Is it not?
Well, I mean, okay, so spreads widen during volatility. So with the volatility, you see many buyers and many sellers coming into the market, and spreads, as we all know, is the difference between the buying and the selling price. So there's people out there with bidding for something, and they say, okay, I'll buy this at 100, and someone else is saying, okay, I'm selling it at 90, because there's so many people coming into the market together at the same time. You see a massive discrepancy in prices, and some people will come and say, oh, I want to buy this at 120, and someone will say, oh, I have this to sell at 50, and someone else will say, I have it at 80, and then the overall spread is the aggregation of all of this, and this is why spreads increase during volatile times.
Yes, yeah, and dare I say it, sometimes people will actually say that maybe if you could just unpack the spread story a little bit. I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding. Some people still believe that when you get wider spreads, it's the broker deliberately closing them out, or the broker taking their money. maybe a little bit of information around that, because still people don't truly understand what drives the spread.
Can I just answer that question?
Yes.
What I would like to know is how the volatility is measured and what criteria is used to dictate the spread.
Yes. So volatility is measured as the number of transactions per given period. So this is how we measure our volatility. If you go to the interbank, volatility is measured by the bids and asks. Okay, so is the number of people wanting to sell and the number of people wanting to buy. But volatility for us is the number of ticks, if you want, in a given period. Okay. Now, to answer Judy's question on spreads and is it the broker trying to take advantage? It's not. Look, if you go to the ActiveTrades ActiveTrader platform, there's a fantastic feature there, which is the market sentiment, and it tells you how many of our clients, or clients within our book, that are long and short for each instrument. So euro dollar, you can see that normally the ratio is never more than 60-40, and quite often is 50-50. Okay, so if a broker was to widen the spread in order to take someone out, it would be benefiting someone else.
Yes, of course.
It's a zero sum game, and a broker would have to be incredibly well resourced in order to look at every client and say, oh, Mr. X there, oh, he's got his position is making too much money, I better stop him now, or Mr. Y is losing, I need to get him into margin call or something. I mean, no broker can do this. I mean, there's so many clients. In our case, we have around 60,000 active clients. I mean, if we were to look at every individual client and how they're trading, what their positions are, it would be crazy. At least as far as I know. There's no way of doing this in an effective way. And why would we? Because if we were to hurt a trader, we would be benefiting another trader.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, it's a zero sum.
Yes. So no, we don't. Of course, we don't do that. The spreads that you see on our platforms are the spreads we get from the interbank system, from our suppliers of liquidity, and of course we add something on top. But what we add on top is always the same. Yes. Always the same. We don't change that.
So I think, guys, that's important to hear that as well. And I think what drives those sort of questions are emotions when your trades lose. So I think that's what drives those questions. So are there any other questions, guys? Have you got any other questions?
No.
Any other questions?
I think McLean's question was answered.
Yeah, McLean's, your question, as a result of volatility, will spreads go up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they can widen. They will not go up. So we will not change our target spread. Say, for example, on the euro dollar, which is 0.5 pips, we will not change it to say 1 pip because we are going through volatile times. That's not how it works. So our target spreads will remain 0.5 pips, but sometimes when conditions in the market are very volatile, that spread can widen. But it will widen momentarily. It will not stay wide. It will fluctuate, and it will peak at times of extreme volatility. But our target spread remains exactly the same, and the cut we take from that spread is always the same. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Birgitta.
I can see another question here. It says, why this broker and not Infinox? Are there any benefits, and what are they? Look, every broker is different. Infinox are a good broker. These are FCA regulated brokers, and we also have other regulations as well in our other global locations. It depends on what you want. So I don't like to talk about competitors unless it is something positive. So what I can say,
Ricardo, may I jump in here, please?
Yes, of course.
the reason why Birgitta, I think, has brought that up is because historically we have worked with Infinox, and
Right.
recently we started working with you guys. So I think that's why Birgitta is actually specifically mentioning Infinox for now.
No, that's fine. Look, so as I said, I don't like to speak badly about the competitors. I just like to say good things. As far as I know, Infinox are a serious broker. I know several people that work there. We are a very serious broker. We offer excellent customer service. You can reach anybody on the phone 24 hours a day between Sunday night and Friday morning. Emails are answered quickly. We have very stable technology. We have our own platform, ActiveTrades. As I said, gives you the market sentiment as well. We have a very wide range of products, which includes many individual shares that you can now trade, buy and sell and short. So we have a proposition that is based on excellent customer service, on excellent and stable technology, competitive pricing, and a wide range of products. So I'd rather talk about ourselves than the competitor.
I get it.
We are all serious people here in the market, and we offer a great product and a fantastic service.
Okay, and the link is in our membership area.
Okay, so thanks, Tiny. The other thing is, though, guys, I've never experienced the service from any other broker that I have from ActiveTrades.
Thank you.
I said a categoric. Okay, so yeah.
And our relationship.
Thank you very much.
Planning a very long
time. And we are building. Tiny, you might want to come and say that.
Yeah. So guys, remember we talked about the new platform that we're building and we're working on and porting over to, and that is going to be with ActiveTrades.
Yeah.
So we are building a long-term relationship with ActiveTrades. They're literally just around the corner from us. They're really nice guys, apart from Ricardo. The rest of them are pretty good. But yeah, so
you knew he was going to get one in, Ricardo. Come on.
Okay, so that is really the story. We really are looking at a long-term future together with ActiveTrades. And if you guys do want to check them out in the membership site, there are actually links where you can go and click on those. So in your membership site under recommended broker, and that'll take you to ActiveTrades. You can get some more information there. And of course, if you sign up using that link, you'll be part of our group on ActiveTrades.
Yeah.
So have a look at that. They good bunch of guys. Can't say much for Ricardo, but the rest of them are.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Disappointing, isn't it?
All right. Any other Fan? What is your morning routine to help with these? Oh, I don't. As an analyst, I don't know. Do you want to ask that of Ricardo? Fan, what is your morning routine to help you through these chaotic times? Yes,
well,
I'd like to know.
My role entails looking at the markets. We look, at Bloomberg terminal. Read the headlines, investigate anything that strikes me as being a little bit unusual, because I look into this every day, and I've been doing that for the last 9 years. So very few things have surprised me in these days. So I just try to keep updated. Of course, working as other angles as well for me. So there's other things I have to do, and not just looking into how the markets are behaving. So I'm normally very busy in the morning. I have a coffee and I start working, answering emails, looking at the markets. I write my morning market analysis, which is shipped out to a number of outlets in the media, etc. I just get on with it, really. I just get on with it, and that's it, basically. That's it.
Can I ask you, Ricardo?
Loads of coffee. Yes, of course.
Sorry. Just what percentage of your decision-making process is fundamental analysis, and what percentage of it is technical analysis?
Well, I mean, I'm in a lucky I'm in a lucky position in the sense that I'm part of a team. So being an analyst, and I'm a fundamental analyst. So I look into the fundamentals, but we do have a risk management team, a fantastic risk management team, and they of course look more into the technicals. I would say that overall, technicals play a role that is at least as important as fundamentals, at least, but probably more.
Yeah. I just want to hop in here, Fan. Remember, Ricardo's role is very different to your role as a retail trader. So, whereas Ricardo, one is professional in what he does. It's his job. It's what he does full time, and his role is to look for other things than you would be looking for as a retail trader, trading one or two strategies. So that what you would do would be different. That's what I would reckon. So yeah. All right, guys. Anything else? Any other questions? Malena, Ricardo, would you like to
stay with tribal traders?
Well, I would say that working with professionals that can help you mastering your technical analysis skills, for example, which are, as we just covered, extremely important during these interesting times we're going through. It's very important. Tribe of Traders, a great team, except Tiny. So I would say working with someone like Tiny and Judy and the rest of the team at Tribe of Traders is for sure very useful. Having someone alongside you so you don't feel lonely, you don't get isolated. So having help, having someone to turn to is extremely important because it supports your mental well-being as a trader. Yes. I mean, it's a cliche, of course it's a cliche, but look, the most important aspects when it comes to determine whether or not someone is a successful trader, it's the mind, it's what's here. And one of the ways to ensure that you stay well here is having someone to turn to, someone to talk to, not being isolated, being part of a community. That is extremely, extremely important. That will help you to keep your emotions under control, fear, greed, and using technical analysis is a great way of doing that. We all know that we are too quick to close winning positions and too slow to close losing positions. This is one of the things that leads to the downfall of most traders. So having someone alongside you who can advise you, who can give you tools and give you that sense of belonging to a community, of having others you can talk to, it's very important for your decision-making process and for your mental well-being as a trader.
100%. Thank you for that, Ricardo. I couldn't have said it better, and I didn't pay Ricardo to say that, guys. that is 100%. That is our philosophy as well, and especially during this time, you're absolutely going to need a team or a community to be able to lean into, and to rely on, to keep you inspired, to keep you sort of out of being sucked into the drama and the fear as well. So yeah, cool. It sounds like yes, we had a discussion. We started this morning at 5:45. 5:45 we started this morning, Ricardo. So we've been going for a while, and we started off with a sort of discussion as to how to navigate this in mindset and so on. So as Brigitte says, it sounds like you were in the discussion this morning. Awesome, Ricardo. Thank you so much.
I wasn't.
Absolutely amazing. Seriously.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm now more grateful and more convinced that, working with ActiveTrades and with you is just the right thing. It's taken us a couple of years to find somebody like you. It's taken us a year, actually, isn't it, to get this off the ground because of
yes.
other. and I'm really, really delighted. I really am. And like, guys, I strongly do recommend ActiveTrades.
Ruth is saying your question has not been answered. I'm trying to find it.
Yes, I just saw that.
Ruth, what is your question? Ruth is saying, why are spreads different from broker to broker? How are spreads
Okay. No problem. I can answer that. The main reason is that different brokers have different commercial strategies. So some brokers compete just based on price. Some brokers are what you may call a low-cost broker. Some brokers are premium brokers. Some brokers like to create a package which is balanced, where it's not low cost, but it's not over the top expensive. So this is the reason. Basically, is a matter of the commercial strategy. Of course, what you must take into consideration is that if you're not paying much for the spread, or if you're not paying anything for the spread, then you have to answer to ask yourself a question, which is, how does the broker make money?
Yep.
So no one does this just for fun. So there has to be a spread. Some brokers choose to charge a little bit more and perhaps offer a more stable and a higher grade of service and products. Some others just streamline what they offer and charge less. Some, especially brokers that are located in, how can I say, exotic places,
like Cyprus.
tend. Anyway, maybe not even Cyprus, but maybe even further afield. They tend to not charge any spread and advertise things like I don't know, ECN, STP, use loads of jargon, zero spreads. It's almost like we'll pay you to trade type of thing. And I think this is not honest, because nothing normally in those packages of what is advertised is true. But anyway, let's end on the positive note. Brokers often ask for different spreads because they have different commercial strategies, and they decide the price they charge their client because that's what the spread is based on, that the commercial strategy.
Absolutely. And I think to sum up, like Ruth, I think I might be wrong, but my suspicion is that you're asking like a particular broker why theirs is so high compared to, say, for example, ActiveTrades. You will find that majority of FCA regulated brokers, they will have somewhat similar range of spreads. They won't be the extreme that you'll find on some of the unregulated overseas type brokers.
Yes.
And they have different commercial reasons that drive that. So,
yes.
Cool. Ricardo, as I said, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Take care and look forward to plenty more and working lots more with you. So
it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. And yes, we'll speak soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Bye.
So everyone else stay on. Ricardo's going. Okay, bye, Ricardo.
Thanks, Ricardo.
Bye-bye.
Cool. Was that useful, guys? Did you find that useful? Ruth, was your question answered? Makes sense that yes, it did. Right. Excellent. Was that useful, guys? Did that help? Brilliant. Anyone else?
Yep. Also me.
Yeah. Oh, Andre, you're on. Right. Good. Good. The reason why I want these guys on, I want like Ricardo on. We will have Raz on from Infinox tomorrow. Some people are with them. But want to know more. What more do you want to know, Brigitte? What more?
Send a list of questions through.
Send a list of questions and I'll get Ricardo to answer them. Hi, Andre. How's it? Very useful. Awesome. So, like, use the form, Brigitte, of the questions, and I will send them to Ricardo, and he will, and I will share his response.
Yeah, just write the form because there are new people on them. I might not have been on this morning.
Okay, okay, I will go through the form in a moment. He's a very sexy voice. He does.
He does not.
He does. He's so cute.
If you like a tortoise voice.
Calm down, Cheryl.
Listen, do you know where he's from, Cheryl? Bet you don't know where he's from. Anyone know where he's from? He has an extremely sexy voice, I agree. All right. No, he's not. He's not Italian. I thought he was Italian. No, he's not from Iran or Sweden. No. He's Portuguese. He's from Portugal. Yes. Mara, you got it.
Brigitte, so if you go with ActiveTrades for now, all that you will do is you just let me know the account number and everything stays the same for right now. As we move into the later, there's a question that Brigitte put in. As we move into the new platform and things like that, we'll be keeping you posted about what happens there. But you know, for now, if you want to open an account with ActiveTrades, use our link. As I said, you go into our group, and I'm answering a question from the net as well. That means you're allocated to us, so then I can deal directly with Ricardo about any questions you may have and add extra support, so that you're actually allocated to us. If you're not allocated to us, I can still try to speak to him on your behalf, but you know, you're not really in our group, so I can't really influence. But yes, so all that changes is you let me know what your account number is, I change your licenses, and you keep trading as per normal. Pretty much whether you move from broker A to B, same thing at this stage. That makes sense? Can you have both? Yeah, Brigitte, you're in the trading club, so you can have up to two licenses per, per strategy. Yeah. So there's no reason why you can't have both. It's always good to spread your risk anyway.
The service these guys offer is just something else. They're really customer focused. They match our ethos, and that's why we really like them. So, who's TC? He'll be after your seat there.
Oh, it's me he's talking about.
Oh, he's always looking at my bottom anyway.
Okay, so ETA for new platform. We don't have an ETA yet. This whole challenge has upset the apple tart a little bit. So Tom Cruise.
You got it, McLean.
It should be TCA, Tom Cruise's.
All right, let's get back to work. Okay, so I would anticipate probably in the next 4 weeks, Paul, Tiny should be in a position to give an ETA. Does that help? So switch. Whether you don't have to wait till the platform is up and running to switch over, but it's totally up to you. This has got to be a decision that works for you. Okay? If you're happy with where you are, that's also grand. Okay, so but I would imagine in the next 4 weeks' time, you should be able to give some sort of ETA. Right, so we were now going to speak about POGO, weren't we? In case anybody wasn't on this morning, I just want to just give me a sec. There is a form in who's this one? There is a form in your members area, which is, you should be able to see the screen now. It looks like that. So in your members area, there's a form. When you click on start, it'll ask you to put in your name. It'll ask you to put in your email address and questions. So if there are any questions over the next couple of days, I want you to put them in there. If you've got questions you want me to ask Ricardo, put them in there. Okay, so I want to make sure that they're all answered. Anything that doesn't get answered today, I want, like during our session today, that comes up that you would like answered tomorrow, put them in there. So they're in one place so I can track them, follow them, and make sure they get answered. Okay, there's one in the POGO members, and there's also one in the club as well. Is that clear? Okay, that's for all your questions. So that's that bit. The next bit is POGO. I want to share with you. Get rid of this. Alexa. Okay. All right. Alexa keeps interrupting us. Share. So, stop share. Hold on. Why is that not working? There we go. POGO. Okay, so guys can see I did an analysis of POGO's setups over the past 2 weeks since 8th of March, 8th, 9th of March. So yeah, from the 8th to the 20th of March, well actually to the 23rd to some right now. And you can see that these are assuming you're using Trade Manager. You can see that there is, that most of them are like the setups, most of the actual setups were like today. Today's the 23rd, yeah. Most of those setups were actually today because you had like massive BUGSY run over the past couple of weeks with just trend going, sell off, or buying dollar or whatever it is. And then there was some profit taking. The important thing is to understand that during this time, as you would have heard from Ricardo, is that technicals still stay technicals. Whatever, there's things, crazy things in the markets are not happening despite the crazy things that are going on around us. I think that's important to understand. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think that's evident here is that price still respects the 8, or price still respects the 20 or the 50. If it's trending. If it's not trending, it's still ranging. I think that's the important thing. We're going to go and have a look at some of these. Now, here's the other thing. Especially all of these that executed today, all bar one, I think, you would typically never ever take it. That's the important thing. Because like, for example, this one, well, actually, this is from the 10th of May. It had moved 285 pips. This one had moved 380 pips before executing. And what is our rule of thumb? What is our rule of thumb? Who's going to be the first to comment? Who's got the quickest typing fingers? Just give us the rule of thumb. What is our rule of thumb, guys? Let's stop that share. 65 pips, yes. Quick fingers, Tony. 65 pips, Arzana, is the rule of thumb, but well done on getting that answer in so quick. That was very good. And 90, thereabouts 90, 95 for GBP. I also use that for Kiwi as well, Michael. So that's the rule of thumb. But obviously things are quite different now. So let's go and have a look. Well, before I do that, I actually wanted to go and have a look at a presentation. If I can find it. I've got so much open on my desk right now. Okay, I think, oops. I think we all agree the 80-20 rule of trading is a thing, yes? I had how much resistance to that when I first started talking about that in 2018. I had so much.
Guys, that's why Kevin's here. I'm going to go fetch the mallet.
Had so much resistance. You've heard it from the horse's mouth as well, from Ricardo. You've seen it, you've witnessed it, okay? The 80-20 rule of trading. I'll be honest with you, it's like 80% is all mindset and 20% is in the head. That's actually how I believe trading is. You know, when you've got that right, the trading just comes naturally, including trading through this time as well. Even though we don't know what's going on, Ricardo doesn't know, nobody knows what's going to happen, what's going on. We've never experienced anything like it. You heard what Ricardo said. He said typically the volume in the market is like equal to $5 trillion a day, but he doesn't know at the moment. We don't know. We honestly don't know. Global markets have shut down, but one thing is for sure. One thing we're seeing is there is continued volatility. There's continued trading going on in the market. As he says, there's always going to be money. There's always going to be currency. People are going to want to trade it. People are going to want to sell it and buy it. And for something that's been around since the biblical times, it's in the Bible, it's talked about in the Bible. How old is that? It's, you know, do you think a small little virus, albeit a nouveau virus, is that what it's called? Or a nova virus, you think that's going to kill it? No ways, it's not. It's not. But it's all about how we manage our mindset, how we manage our self-awareness, and how we manage our focus and where we put our focus. So important now, guys. Those of you who weren't on this morning, I urge you to go and listen to that mentor session we did this morning. It's very powerful. Lynette, thank you so much for kicking it off so quickly as you did as well. You weren't hanging around. You know, I think the conversation we had this morning was very important, and about where we put our focus. That's why we need to be very much self-aware at the moment. Where are we putting our focus? And reason why it's important for you to put your focus, be conscious about where you put your focus, is that it's so easy at the moment to be focusing on fear and panic, and to get caught up in that. If you're not aware of it, you'll become that. Make sense? If you're not aware of it, you'll become it. Let me know that that makes sense in the chat box, please, guys. I want you to let me know that that makes sense. Why can't I get there? Lily, makes sense. Good stuff. Defco. The virus is the only excuse for the bubble. Excellent. Everyone saying they make sense. The virus is the only excuse for the bubble that had to burst. Is only the excuse. Good point. Good point, Maro. Good point. Yes, yes. It happens before you even realize it. Geez, Lynette, you are so on the ball. 100%. 100%. I've said it for the past few days now. Here's the thing. Here's the issue. And you will get sucked into it, and it becomes your norm so fast. And the moment it becomes your norm, it is so hard to get out of. And when it becomes your norm, oh, Tiny, don't put that there. You want me to freaking throw it everywhere? Is that mine?
That's why I put it there.
Don't do that.
I do what I want.
Don't do
I'm
that.
the master. Did you say you want one?
Referee, please, yes.
Sorry, I nearly knocked over a cup of coffee everywhere. Okay, so the reason why we need to be very mindful to stay out of that fear, because you get into it so quickly, you need to be very mindful of where your focus is, because you get into it so quickly, and when you're in it, that becomes your norm. You can't imagine anything outside of it, and then vibrationally, that's where you're working from, operating from, and that's where the universe is going to be meeting you halfway. And you cannot trade when your focus is constantly with the drama.
The noise becomes deafening.
The noise becomes deafening.
Yeah.
The noise becomes deafening 100%. And again, that's why exactly what I've been teaching over the past 2 years is so important, about having your why, having your vision, having the clarity of your vision, and that the noise of your own agenda drowns out the noise of the agenda around you. The virus's agenda, society, government, other people. Okay, so it is so important. Right. So obviously we know that with POGO rules, we've got 2 clear cycles, the 20, 50 in order, and price retraces to the 20. That still remains, right? Nothing changes. Nothing changes. We can see now, most definitely, that through, like, you know, through the worst of it, like, guys, when we started the Ninja Trading Challenge over a week ago, it was over a week ago now, the world was a normal place. By the time we finished, we had shut down, but still remains, these 2 are the basics. Do not change them. Do not be tempted to tweak them. These still remain. Now, there's 2 reasons. So one of the things that one of the things, this is now I'm talking specifically POGO here, okay? There are 2 reasons that we might find we want to eliminate, okay? And those 2 reasons are the same in this time as always, as in certainty times, right? And those 2 reasons are, you've got more than 2 of the same instruments that are on your watch list. So for example, you might have a setup on Euro Swiss, and you might have a setup on Pound Swiss, right? And then you might have a setup on Swiss yen. Which of those three are you going to take? What are your rules? Are you going to take two of the same instrument? It's the same rules, the same applies. You're going to need to eliminate one or two of those three setups. Because here's the important thing, guys, and never, ever, ever forget it. Every time you place POGO or BUGSY onto a chart, you need to assume it's going to execute. That is where you are allowed, and the only time and place you're allowed to actually project your beliefs onto the market. You've got to assume that they are going to execute. Because if you don't, you might find yourself the owner of trades that leave you overexposed. Because you might not get to, if one executes and the other one doesn't, but it executes 10 minutes later, you might not get to the chart to take it off when the first one has executed. People make this mistake all the time. Please do not make that mistake again. Every single time you put a executor onto the chart, you need to assume it is going to execute. Therefore, you need to be 100% happy and sure that you want to be in that trade. All right, that's the first reason to eliminate. We'll go into how the eliminations are in a moment. The other one is you might have numerous options, like how many times have the coaches not come to you and say, like they do the live streams, and there are 7, 8, 9 POGO alerters, BUGSY alerters, right? What happens if in the next half hour you've got 5 or 6 alerts? What do? When you're doing your watch list is the time in which you want to do your process of elimination. Make sense? Let's see what the questions are here. Give me a sec, guys. I'll open the questions. Oops.
Guys, need to put questions in the Q&A. I mean, it's just going to get more and more difficult.
Okay, guys, can I ask a favor? It's my fault. Can I ask you to put questions in the Q&A rather than the chat box? It's very hard to follow questions in the chat box. Okay, it's my mistake, which I have to eliminate. Okay, cool. Harzono, that's why I said when putting POGO, putting POGO on, it's more important than when it's executed, because the decision's made at the time we put it on, isn't it? 100%. Your decision is made when you're putting on. You are 100% correct there, Harzono. But what is important are the trades that execute. That's important. You could put POGOs or BUGSYs on all sorts of different setups, okay? But that may or may not be valid, but it's the ones that are valid, the ones that are executed are the ones that we can deal with. Because that will give us enough information as to whether you are taking the highest probability trades. We'll know through your executed trades whether you're taking the highest probability trades. If you're not, you raise a good point. I actually think you've got a really good point there. So I'm not dismissing what you're saying, Harzono. But I think in terms of the tech intensive, that's how we need to work. Because if I was to go through all the ones that you placed it on, I wouldn't be able to do anything else, right? But here's what I would suggest you do. And I say it all the time, all right? I say it all the time. The guys who've been with me for ages know this. I say it all the time. And that is that you need to, at the end of each week, as part of your weekly review, that's why I always recommend that you have a trade journal, all document, everything documented, including in your trade journal. In fact, I've sent a template out, a trade journal template out several times. Is what I've actually put, what instruments have I actually put the executor on? What happened? Did it execute? Did it not? Did I eliminate it or what? So go back over it every week and make notes. That is such an important part of trading as a business, reviewing and tweaking. Lynette, let's ask, can I send that trade journaling template again? I don't have it. Tanya and I are actually working on actual physical trade terminal, so trade journal. So as soon as that is done, we will send that out, Lynette. I would rather have the final product that we're working on right now and send that out. We'll send you a PDF template of it, but we'll also be sending a hard copy as well. Hosanna, does that help answer your question? That is, I think, something that you need to do as part of your business of trading. But good point. And I don't think I really grasped what you were truly meaning earlier. So good point. Was there a question that I missed? So, Jerry, I find myself putting on all alerts from the watch list. Do. Put all the alerts on, but make notes. Okay, make notes of what's going on there. Okay, I just find myself blindly then actively learning. Okay, well, stop that, Jerry. All right, Jerry says finding myself blindly following then actively learning. Well, here's a wee trick, Jerry. Stop it. You know better than that. You seriously do.
We do have the service we can offer.
What's that?
Where he flies me over on a weekly basis and I beat him around the head for 20 minutes. And then I take a week holiday and then come back and beat him again.
Jerry, stop that. Here's what I want you to do from now on. And now you're in the tech intensive for the next 3 months. And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. You are not allowed to get onto a live stream without doing your own watch list first. Okay. I want you to do your own watch list first, and therefore when you get onto the live stream, whether it be live or recorded, then you can actually compare your watch list. Just so everyone knows, Jerry has never ever traded before. He's brand new. He's invested in the trading business in a box, and we're trying to get him up to speed with actually learning to trade remotely. So he's doing really well. So, but Jerry, don't blindly do anything when it comes to trading, okay? Don't. Because one of the things that you'll be doing if you do that is you're abdicating responsibility. You can't afford to do that when it comes to trading or any form of wealth building, and I know you know that. So do your own, and then if there are any discrepancies when you're going through it live with the coaches or myself, you ask the question, what about this? This is what I've got. Why don't you have it? Or whatever the question is. Or if you're watching the recording, put it into the incubator. Okay, don't be afraid to ask the question. Challenge the coaches; they need it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, keeps us awake.
Yeah, they might be wrong.
Never.
Great. Ruth, this would be great as I don't have a trade journal. Cool. I never watch or look. Sorry, this is the problem with trying to follow the chat boxes.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to call this, I'm going to cancel
These are,
this whole Zoom thing.
This is comments, time, not
fine.
questions.
But that's what I'm saying, you should be looking for questions as well.
I never look or watch the list until I've looked at my charts myself. That's very good. Yep, good, good. Yeah, the coaches have different perspectives. So that's why I love it, because like the three coaches and myself, we're all very different. So now the tech intensive is nearing. This will guide me to trade volatility. This can also be pressure inputting on trades, as I would like the one-to-one feedback. Yep, but also don't be afraid to use the incubator as well, or the tech intensive group, McLean. That's McLean. So like get your watch list done, then listen to the coaches, compare it, see where the anomalies are. If you don't understand why they don't see it the way you see it, ask them. Or if you're watching the recording, put a question into the incubator. If you get the second alert, say it in the incubator, shout it out. Okay, this is what, don't say, this is what I would advise against or suggest against. There's no wisdom in you saying, Euro pound has alerted second alert for BUGSY. Should I go in? That's nebulous. It doesn't serve yourself. It doesn't serve anyone, and no one can help you because no one knows your situation. No one knows what other trades you've got on, what your trade plan is, what your objectives are. Only you know that. Okay, so more wisdom in saying, I see BUGSY as this, as a setup. It's done a second alert. This is why I think it's a valid setup. Am I missing anything? Because at the end of the day, you're the one that knows your objectives. You're the one that knows your risk profile. You're the one that knows what's in your trade plan. No one else does. So no one else can give you a definitive answer. But what other people can do is say, oh yeah, I agree with that. That's perfect. That's good logic. Or, yeah, but have you considered this, McLean or Lily or Michael? You know what I'm saying? So use it. Build confidence by asking those questions. Remember, Dr. John DeMartini, the quality of the question you ask yourself determines the quality of life you lead. Okay, it's the same with trading. Cool. Do ask a question on the watch list, tell the story of the trade. Does that help, McLean? Does that help? Will you be able to do that? That will help you in terms of, I just trade bugs. That's fine. I think some people are more BUGSY sluts than POGO sluts. There are some people that love trading both together, and some people prefer one over the other. There are people that prefer POGO over BUGSY. Right. So we're clear on the reasons to eliminate. You won't know those reasons unless you have a trade plan, right? So naturally, you need to have a trade plan. Okay, so the points to consider for elimination. All right, the points to consider for elimination. It's the quality of cycles. Now, obviously, we're talking POGO here, only POGO. It's the quality of the cycles. Okay, so you've actually got the 5 bars, and if nobody knows what I'm talking about there, let me know. The 5 bars where you've got, so if you're going on an uptrend, you've got 2 highs that break the low, right? If you're going on an uptrend, and then you've got 2 lows when it's retraced to the 20, you've got 2 lows that break the high, yeah? So the quality of the cycles, rather than it just going sideways and interacting with the 20, that's not a quality cycle, that's just going sideways. It happens to interact with the 20. Quality of the cycles is very important. We've got lots and lots of videos on that. The 65 pip rule of thumb. Okay, I put that in red because that is something that we are going to need to adjust, it looks like, for this Black Swan event that we're experiencing, because certainly with POGO, it's the bars are so big. We need to have a more fluid approach to this point of elimination. Are you going to consider it as a point of elimination? Are you going to ignore how many pips it's moved, as long as it hasn't broken the previous high or low? I can go into a chart and show you, if you like, what I mean by that. So if it hasn't broken the previous high or low, if it's an uptrend, it hasn't broken the previous high, right? So there's the high, and it's still below that high, but it's moved 300 pips purely because of the volatility. Are you still happy to go into it? All right. If it has broken the previous high, it's moved 300 pips. Well, do you really want to go into it? I'd say no. That's the point at which you're placing POGO alerter back on for it to go back again. Make sense? Just want to see if there's a question there. I think this is a bitch, Kevin. This thing.
Yeah, it's something you used to use, isn't it?
Okay, good question. Measure cycles. Okay, when I go on to the charts, I will do that. I will show you how to do that, Cheryl. Excuse me. All right. There's no other questions on that one?
Judy says he's not entirely sure about the 65 pip thing. I'm not sure what it means. Okay.
All right. Okay, I'm going to talk about that when we go on to the charts, Jerry, for Cheryl and Jerry. How many cycles? Okay, so on the again, how many cycles? That's going to be interesting right now, because we're again on the instruments that are trending. They're trending and they just keep on trending, don't they? They're just keeping them going. Under normal circumstances, we have an average normally there'd be 4 or 5 cycles in a trend on the 4 hour, right? We don't have the long daily trends that we used to have back in the early 2000s, right? We don't have that anymore. So that's why we trade 4 hour, the lower time frame, to try and get in on trend that gives us a little bit of opportunity to get in. And typically in the normal circumstances, there'll be 4 or 5 average. So if you haven't been in on the second, third, do you want to get in on the 4th or 5th? Again, that's something you need to have in your trade plan. And if you do that, that's great, as long as you do it every single time, and not do it this time and do it next time, and then not do it next time and do it this time, type of thing, right? So how many cycles? This sounds more complicated than it is. It comes second nature. For most of you, this is second nature now. Again, how have I made in the trend so far? Again, Uren, I think still, I'm not sure Uren, but I don't know if Uren even takes this into consideration, because he has a real issue with this. It's like, well, if you're going on the laws of probability and technically it's saying to you it's still trending, why should you still consider this? And then he has a point. Why do you still consider it? It's something that you need to feel comfortable with. It's part of owning the strategy and part of having it in your trade plan. Okay, does that make sense? It's an important point. And then what is the 30-minute chart? And this is more referring to if you can see on the 4 hour, you've got consolidation where the bars are just going sideways, and you get a second alert on POGO. What is the 30-minute doing? So you might get sort of 2 second alerts at the same time, and you go and check the 30-minute, everything else is fine. You can't decide which one to do. You go to the 30-minute chart, and the one is definitely trending, but the other one is just going sideways, where it's like a flip of a coin, where it's just like going flip, 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 flip. You could be pipped in, pipped out quite quickly, because this depends on the flip of a coin. Whereas the other instrument might actually trend on the 30-minute, and you will get in. It looks like it's likely to continue. And we're just looking for 30 pips. It doesn't need an awful lot of movement. Okay. Currency strength. So actually, your man, Ricardo, that was an interesting.
What he was saying about the market sentiment.
Market sentiment.
ActiveTrades,
you might want to have a look at that. Okay.
Yeah. And read an awful lot.
Yeah. You might want to have a look at that. You might want to include that. Currency strength, and in terms of currency strength, like for example, I use that a little bit, and I use Market Watch with currency strength. Currency familiarization, again, guys, right now more than anything, trade the instruments you know. Okay, trade the instruments you're comfortable with. So you know which one I'm staying away from and will continue to stay away from, and you know the ones that I will be very drawn to. And that will remain the same now as over the past couple of years. Nothing changes. It's really, really good idea to know what instruments you're naturally drawn to, because there will be one. Do you have instruments that you're drawn to?
Aussie Kiwi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and CAD Yen.
Oh, CAD Yen. Yeah. I think USD CAD is Anthony's version of my Euro Pound. So. Yeah. So CAD Yen and Aussie Kiwi. Yeah. Everyone has favorites and really gets in tune with them. So know those and oh, I said I would deal with that. Okay, so I'm just going to see these questions here. Come on. You don't consider it. You don't consider it, right? So Uren says he does not consider it, and he's referring to the have I made in the trend so far. So Uren's always had an issue with that. He can't marry that, and that is 100% fine. That is part of Uren's ability to own the strategy, to take control and to be self-aware enough that that's something he's not comfortable with. Just because I say it, just because it's a thing that we talk about in the tribe traders, doesn't mean he's adopting it, and he doesn't.
And he's consistent with that.
And he's consistent, yeah. Euro has been good for me. Excellent, McLean. Yeah, Euro can be a really good currency to trade. How do you use currency strength? So, okay, so one way you'd use currency strength, Who asked that question? Cheryl. What's this right?
Steve Cosby.
Oh no,
Steve
Steve.
Cosby.
Sorry, Steve. One way I would use that is if I'm looking to get in, if I've got say two options, I can go into USD Swiss or I can go into Euro AUD. But across the board, and I'm going long on both Euro AUD or USD Swiss, but across the board, dollar is strong. It's got good momentum. It's strong across the board, across all the crosses. Whereas euro is strong here, weak there, sort of indifferent there on different crosses. I'm going to go for USD Swiss. It's as simple as that. There's no science behind it. There's no complicated calculation. It's as simple as that. But then market watch then comes in. So let's say USD Swiss is my selected one. It's really strong, but it has the market watch. Is it market watch it's called? Yeah.
You're talking about the
Market change.
market change.
Market
You're talking about the
change.
thing that I wrote.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't even know what it's called now. I'm going to delete it.
I have been going since 5 o'clock this morning, non-stop, and only on 4 hours sleep.
If I remember
Market change.
Market change. Market change. So market change, if my decision is to go USD Swiss and the market change for the daily is 0.8, 0.9, I don't want to go in at that point in time because the average market change in a day is, I would say is between 0.1 to 0.4, 0.4.5 on average. So if you've got a currency that's moved 0.9, 0.8, or 1 or 1.1, as the yens do sometimes, you don't want to be getting in at that late point, because at that late point, you're absolutely going to get profit takers coming in, aren't you? Does that answer your question, Steve? Let me know if that answers your question. And if anyone else has got questions based on what I've just said. Cool. Excellent. Is there anything else? Scaling as well. So, for example, that would be another point of elimination. So, if I've got two choices, again, let's use the USD Swiss and Euro AUD. I'm already in USD Swiss, and I want to scale in. So, I want to capitalize on that movement. I'm in tune with it. I'm in flow. I will most likely use USD Swiss that I'm going to scale in on. Okay, remember it was scaling in. You go in, you take the two trades, you've got one trade that closes, the other trade is going, and then you scale in. When your second trade is going, your stop loss for the first one has gone to break even, so you've got no risk on that trade. And you go in, you will have 3 trades open, but only the 2 with risk. Make sense? Remember. Oh yes, I stuck that in. That's important, guys. That's so important. Have fun. During these times, don't ever forget to have fun. All right, always have fun. The more fun you have, the more expansive you'll be, the more inspired you'll be. And look for fun in the smallest little things. Like this morning, I watched a dog, literally his paws were going before he was let off the lead. It was in full flight and staying in the same position before he was let off the lead. So when he was let off the lead, he just went. I mean, that is just such fun to watch that. It just makes you smile. It's important right now. Have fun. Let's look at everything we can. The sun shining, the blue sky, the little bit of heat that's coming from the sun right now in London. I'm not talking about you guys in Australia and South Africa. What?
I'm saying because the fucking sun's scary.
Yeah, well, all right. So that's very important. Have a fun-filled life. Okay. What do we have here?
A couple of questions in the so Michael Frederick, is there a video on scaling in on top? I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Lynette, would I choose to scale in? I can't answer that question as a definitive. All right. if I can't say 100%, it would be something that I would consider. Do I want to scale in on this? Does it look like, for me, still got lots of room to go? Do I feel, does it feel to me? It might not. So it might be something that tells me, no, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm going to take another one. No, I don't use, no. I don't consider news as a point of elimination, Andre. Funny, a good point. I don't consider news as a point of elimination. I'll tell you why. It won't even get onto my watch list if there's a certain type of news. Okay, won't even get onto my watch list. So, at the point of elimination is, remember, I've got my watch list, but I have numerous potential setups. What's my hierarchy? What is my preference? So that's what I'm looking for. So I'm documenting that when I'm doing my watch list. That's what I'm looking for when I actually go to, when I get the second alert to actually go and place the executor. Won't be on my watch list if there's particular news that's on my trade plan that eliminates me from putting it there in the first place. So it's different. This is after it's on your watch list. Okay. All right. Is that? I thought there was a couple of questions there.
No, I think you've got them. Yeah, you got all of them. And another question. There's a duplicate question. One in the Q&A, one in the chat. So you're good.
Okay. A video on scaling in. Do you know where that is?
I will. Michael, can you just repeat that question in the Q&A? And we'll make sure that we respond with exactly which video.
Can they do a search?
We can do a search.
Yeah, just put scaling into the search.
Yeah, put in search. You know, in our search facility on your on the members area, look, put scaling in.
POGO and BUGSY 101. So yeah, go. So if you go to POGO and BUGSY 101, search engine works. Okay, so in this, you know, on your members area, you've got a search. You've got a search engine. Use it, guys. Put in keywords like Michael will put in scaling in, and it will bring up the exact area in videos that I would have spoken about it. Which is 108.57 in this particular video. Okay, so anyway, it's there. Tiny's checked. Okay. All right, so let's go and take a look at some of the, whoops, where have you gone? All right, hold on, hang 10, guys, hang 10. Let me just do something here. Let me. Yeah, why are you doing that? Mauro, in your members area, either the club or POGO traders on the Tribe of Traders website, the search facility is on the page when you I'm actually going to go in there. Okay. Just bear with me, guys. Remember login. Oh, this is very slow. You got in okay, didn't you? Yeah, I got it fine. Do you remember your login details? Of course. I don't know why everyone doesn't do it. Just save your bloody password. It's such a fantastic website. I was like, I never have to remember my password. It's baby. All right, so here I am in the, which one am I? I'm in the club, okay? So here's the form. Anything to do with the tech intensive over the next couple of days, you've got any questions, you've got any questions you want me to answer Ricardo as well, this is where you go. So this will open up a, who are you? Judy. Okay, and now you click that and so on. All right, so that's the purpose of that. That will be taken down after the next couple of days. The search is right down here. That's your search. So
you put in keywords, and they're 1 minute and 6 minutes and 52. You go to inputs. It transcribes what I'm saying. So in the sentence.
Yeah, these ones we haven't got. Judy doesn't speak very good English.
Okay, but you just click on that. Click on either of them. You'll see that that's where I would have spoken about it.
You're not sharing.
Oh, shite.
Sorry, guys. The next webinar, I'll go.
You try share.
I wasted all that time.
I haven't spotted that either.
Sorry, guys.
Do I have to do everything in this class?
If I just do my, oh, there we go. Sorry, guys, my apologies. Okay, so if I just refresh, just let me refresh.
Okay. Log out and come back in.
So I've logged in. I've gone to the Tribe Traders. I've logged in, right? I'm now, you recognize the club members would look like, that's what you look like. The POGO members are very similar. So this here is the form that I want you to fill in for the next couple of days. If you've got any questions that I'm not answering, like for example, when we finish today, if I don't answer any specific questions or you've got more questions, I want you to fill this in and I will make sure they get answered tomorrow, right? So this is where you just fill in your name and pop in your email. And first question, what is scaling in? For example, you don't have a second question, you don't have a third question. Thanks, and I'll respond next Q&A. That's it. That will be sent through to us, and I will have a list of what needs to be answered. Make sense?
If you want to then add more questions, just hit refresh.
Okay, if you want to add more, just hit refresh, and it will go back to it'll go back to the beginning. Okay. So then to find the search engine, you scroll right down to the bottom, right? And you put in keywords. So scaling in, for example. And there, don't worry too much about the copy. Matt hasn't.
Yeah, Matt's very, very remiss.
Matt hasn't got
to words with him later.
Got just transcribing all of these. He just transcribes my other Facebook Lives. You go. So this is the one area. So there's two different videos in which I talk about it.
The same video too.
Oh, it's two different. It's the same video, but two different places. So you click on it, and that's where I talk about it. It takes you to exactly the place in the video where I talk about it. Does that make sense? Okay. Right. Now let's go to the market. Right. So if I open POGO, yeah. Let me. Am I screen sharing? Yeah.
You are screen sharing. You are also overrunning a little into bugs and time according to the
Okay. So let me have a look here. Pound yen. I just want to have a look at pound yen. I'm going to send you, when we're finished, I'm going to send you these analyses. Okay. I'm actually going to send it to you. I'm going to post it in POGO Traders Skype group. I'm going to post it into POGO Traders Facebook group. So you can download the PDFs of these setups over the past 2 weeks. That is during as we moved into this Black Swan event and as the world economy shut down. Okay, so it's over the past 2 weeks. So I will share that with you. So again, go through it, right? And then you've got questions, use that form in the members area to ask questions tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so the 19th, which was here, you'd agree that's a POGO setup. Okay, You've got definitely got trend. You've definitely got cycles, lovely cycles. And there's beautiful also high test bar as well. Okay, would you agree that that is definitely a setup? Okay, so if I go to the 30-minute, that's where on the 30-minute, you can see that was where the price interacted with the 20 EMA on the 4-hour, and the phase 2 got deeper. And on that bar, what is that bar? What type of bar is that? Anyone know what type of bar that is? Who knows that type of bar? I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. Who's got? Has anyone got it in the?
Jerry Sanders got it.
What did you say? Jerry, I'm so proud of you.
We've got a lot of people saying doji, which it can be interpreted as, but technically it's not a doji.
Technically, it's not a doji, guys. That's a spinning top. A doji is where the price open and close is exactly the same. Well done, Jerry.
And it's definitely not a high test.
No, it's not a high test. Who said high test?
Lily.
No, Lily. That's a spinning top.
And it's also not a doji.
So spinning top means potentially price is likely to turn around, right? Which it does here. So that's what we call the apex of phase 2. Cheryl and Jerry, I want you to watch what I'm going to do now. That is the apex of phase 2. Price has turned around and gone back into phase 1, right? And this is the apex of phase 2 on the 4-hour. I want to go back on that now again. You can see that that is where price interacted. That's where we would have got our first alert on POGO. Here, we've agreed that we've got the EMAs in order. We've agreed that we've got trend. We've agreed that we've got cycles. Price interact with the 20. We got our first alert on the 4-hour. We're now waiting for the second alert. And that is on the 30-minute where price interacted with the 20 on the 4-hour. However, price went deeper into a phase 2 on the 4-hour up to here. It reached a halting stop with a handbrake, which is what the spinning top shows us, and price turned around and went into phase 1 on the 4-hour. Okay, we see that price dropping, and as it dropped, it pulled the 20 down below the 50 to be in the same order as the 4-hour. And then what we're waiting for is price to come and interact with the 20, which is what it did here, which is when POGO would have executed. At this point here is where you would have got your second alert, and that's where you would have placed the executor POGO on your 30-minute chart, and this is where the trade would have executed. Now, this is how you measure how far it's gone into phase 1 from the apex. So you go to the body, you get the crosshairs, and you go to the body of the apex, the highest point of the apex. Go to, I don't consider the wick, I just go from here, right? From the body. And I drag it down to the lowest point, in this case, the lowest, because it's shorting. The lowest point, including the wick, okay? The lowest point, including the wick, before it actually retraced and interacted with the 20 to execute. And we can see here that middle number 3799, that is 3,799 points, which equals to 379 pips. Okay, that is a rather large move, is it not? So that's how you measure it. Normally, we're looking at 65. There. That's what we're normally looking at, thereabouts. Okay, but because the bars are so big, everything's out of proportion, right? Normally, when under normal circumstances, I would look at that and I wouldn't even bother measuring that because I would say that's easy within 65. But because we have so much volatility, even the small bars contain a lot of pips.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, everyone? Does I really want you guys to understand that. Jerry and Cheryl, if you could let me know if you understand what I mean. Excuse me. I understand how to measure that. There was another point I wanted to make. Oh, yes. Yes, I got it. There's another point I want to make. Bear with me. All right. So I said that potentially you might want to consider right now for POGO not having the 65 pip rule of thumb, right? You might want to have 200 or 300. But definitely what you still definitely want to have is you don't want to be going in if it's broken the previous low or high. And I'll show you what I mean before it executes. So here we can see price got to this level before it actually came back to interact. So what does that look like here? There's phase one. There's even on the 4 hour, it tells you it shows you by the high test bar the apex of the phase two. Yes, there's a high test bar there, but it just consolidated a little bit. No one really know whether we wanted to end the phase two yet or not, or wanted to go into phase one again. And it turned out, no, we still want more phase two, and price then continued up and created another high test. Remember, the bars give you an indication of what's likely to happen, not what is going to happen. Okay, so that's part of reading the charts like a storybook. Okay, so we could see here with this high test, price continued into phase one, but there's the low. It's still got from here, from the lowest point it got before it interacted, it's still got 382 pips to go before it breaks that low. So there's plenty of room in this phase one. If this bar, for example, was down here, therefore price got down there on the 30-minute before price came back and interacted with the 20 on the 30-minute, you do not want to be getting in here because it's already made a lower, it's already broken that low. That's the time you rather take, you're not going to put executor on, you're going to put alerter back on. I want to know if you do not understand that, guys. And you may need to listen to this a couple of times, okay? And you will be able to do, they'll be able to do a search on this, won't they? Eventually you'll be able to do a search on this. So this is the 65 pip rule of thumb. So what you're going to do is type in 65 pip rule of thumb, and it will bring up every time I've brought that up in this video. Okay. Is there any questions on that, Tanya?
There's a few. Let's go.
I'd have to close this chart now.
Yeah, that's fine. McLean is saying, why measure away from the candle? So when you were measuring,
it's just how I have tested this. It's just because I don't, wick is just a temporary thing. It's it just is what it is.
Yeah,
there's no.
That's what Judy uses consistently.
And everything has been tested based on that.
Okay. All right then. Cheryl's saying, so you only measure until it retraces. So I guess she means lowest low, yeah, or highest high. Right?
So I measure from apex. I'm going to do another one. Let me do another one. So I can choose any one of these. What's up, Tony?
No, that's fine. You're going to do that. There's a few other questions.
Let me pick a different instrument. Pound. Let's do cable. Now, obviously, the cable.
What's quite important there, I think, McLean says you see the coaches do it. So I'm assuming that some of the coaches are measuring from the top of the wick.
The body.
Huh?
I'll take the body.
Yeah, it's from the body.
Okay, Matt, Lauren, let me know what you guys do. Okay, let me know what you guys do in the chat box. But you take from the
body, yeah.
From the body,
because the wick really to me is just a momentary,
yes,
blipping,
yeah,
like a fat finger or something like that. It's not something that's got any substance to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you're going to do another one and then we'll deal with these questions.
Yeah, so the 20th. So that's like down here.
So Matthew's saying body of apex to furthest point of phase 2. He's doing the same.
Who?
Matthew.
Right, right. So
just waiting for your answer.
okay, so guys, you can see that this is definitely a phase 2. Can't you see that? I mean, if I scale out. Well, it's probably actually, it's not really valid. It's only one cycle, really. It's going sideways only one cycle. But anyway, let's assume it's got 2 cycles and it's valid. You can see that there's the, you've got it consolidated and all these are inside that bar. So that wouldn't have been valid had it continued, but there was a low, broke out of that bar. So therefore it's a cycle. And there are 2 bars that break the high of that low bar. Therefore, it's a valid cycle, right? So now we've got the first alert on POGO alert and we're waiting for the second alert. So let's have a look and see what's going on. That's the price interacted with the 20 on the 4-hour. And then we see prices turn around and drop down into phase 1. We see this is the apex. Again, look at that. What is that bar? That's a high test bar-ish. And more high test than spinning top, okay? So again, I'm going to go from the apex, the body, and I'm going to drop it all the way down to here, including the wick. I do include the wick, right? All the way down to there. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Because there's the crossover, and there's where POGO would have executed. So that's the lowest point it got to before it actually would have executed. So there I go from the body all the way down here, and we can see that it's moved 333 pips. Okay, questions, Tony?
Okay, so Jerry, Sam, is the 30-minute chart purely used to place the executor to see if E made in the same order as 4-hour? What other analysis do we use the 30 minutes? I was getting a bit confused by what you're doing here. This is elimination.
This is only elimination. It's only elimination. So in other words, do you want to be, under normal circumstances, the reason why you use the 65 pips is, under normal circumstances, is do you want to be in a trade where prices moved 120 pips into phase 2 already, when all you're actually needing is 30 pips to get a 1-to-1? Okay, that's why we limit it to 65 pips. It's been tested, it works, but right now we can see, because of volatility, it is bigger. So the question that you need to ask yourself is, do we now no longer pay attention to that during this time, and as long as it's still valid? So if I then do, this is as low as it got to before price came back and interacted. Let's see where it is. Okay, so that's where it got to before it would have been a valid setup. You can see it's gone very far into phase 1. It's not actually too far from the low. Do you really want to get in at that point? My suggestion is no, you don't. Whereas if it was up here and it was still 330 pips, but it's got a long way to go before it breaks that low, makes it a little bit more a doable proposition.
Okay, next question.
Yep.
All right, okay, so Maro, I'm going to deal with 2 of these. On the previous chart, we said it looks like an inverted head and shoulders formation.
Oh, I'm not going there.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
no,
that's not something we look at.
I'm not going there.
We care about.
Yeah.
And also, it violates a possible trend line or channel. Again, that's not part of the rules.
I mean, if you want to introduce those sort of things, that's fine. And Maro, I mean, I'm going to urge you, I'm going to be very honest with you, and I'm saying this from my heart, and I mean it with love. We've spoken about this so many times. I really urge you to let go of needing proof. Start trusting your heart. Okay, you've got a big heart. You're a beautiful guy. You've got a big heart. Trust it. You don't need all that noise. I promise you. Okay? You don't need all that noise. People, is Patricia on? I don't think she is. Joran, Kevin, Matt, Michael, Lily. I mean, there's lots of you guys that have really good months. Is Patricia on? Yay! Hi, Patricia. You don't worry about all that. Am I right, Patricia? You don't worry about head and shoulders and trend lines and all that. You just trade what feels right, what comes to you, and with the standard rules. Am I right?
The beauty of POGO is its simplicity.
Yes. 3
rules and two EMAs, and that's it.
100%. And it works, Mara. It works. I really, really, really urge you, please, Mara, this is an opportunity for you now during this time to start letting go of needing to be right and having evidence to support what you're saying, and start trusting yourself. Tony, anything else?
Just one last one. I'm just trying to see, I think it's Mazano. I somehow feel bothered with the very deep phase 2. Is that a concern at all? That was obviously the previous chart as well.
What chart was that? Pound yen.
Okay.
I wouldn't be bothered by the very deep phase 2, Hosanna.
Yes, Hosanna, wasn't it?
Hosanna,
sorry. Yeah.
I really wouldn't. I promise you. I mean, if you measure, for example, from up here, how many pips that is? That's 1,923 pips in that little run there. There's going to be profit taking, and that profit taking needs to be, what's the word? Commensurate? Proportional. That's the word. It needs to be proportional to the extent of the trading. Okay, so so that wouldn't surprise me. Again, one of the things I said, I think the other day on the Facebook Live, is that I was going to talk more about the storybook of trading. Maybe tomorrow we can actually talk a bit about that. Just read the story, so, and Mara, that might help you as well. What is the chart telling you? What story is the chart telling you? And when you start looking at it from that, it's like when you're reading a novel, you want to read the novel, not because you feel you know the end. You want to experience the end, don't you? When you're reading a novel, you're not going to read half. If it's a good novel, you're going to read half. You're not going to get to halfway and think, all right, I know the end, put it down. It's going to be gripping enough for you to stay open-minded to experience the rest of the story. You may suspect what might happen, but you know guarantee, you've no idea what's going to happen. The same with the market. That's the same approach we need to take with the market. That's my take on it. It works for me, and I think it works for a lot of other people. By the way, did Patricia confirm?
What?
Did she? I asked a question.
She says what true. She does what feels right, and then she's actually made a comment. My only trade this month alerted me very early, and I would not normally have taken it. But when I looked, it felt right, and that trade gave me my biggest win using Trade Manager.
Yeah, 100%. Well done, Patricia. Well done. Yeah, that's brilliant. I think that's be guided by what it feels like. What I've got written down here is knowledge-based intuition, KBI. Knowledge-based intuition. That is what will stand you in good stead, way in excess and over and above any other chart patterns like trend lines and head and shoulders and stuff like that. And if you choose to access that, Mara, it will stand you in really good stead. And it is a choice. You can access it. Everyone can access it.
Okay, there's one other question. Again, Hazano, how about crossing the 50 EMA? Does it matter in this case?
That you'd have to expand on that, Hazano?
He's just referring to the fact that it was a deeper pullback, which has gone beyond the 50. But
price has gone on.
Yeah, it's gone beyond the 50.
No, that's still fine. Sorry. I thought you meant the EMA had crossed over.
No.
Okay, no.
Do you have water?
Sorry, I'm not there. I've been talking non-stop since 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's we might want to take a wee break.
So here, sorry, let me go with my thoughts. It's okay for it to break the 20. It's okay for it to break the 50 even. It's even okay for price to come up here, as long as it doesn't break the previous, the trend. So like you've got a cycle here, a cycle there, right? And then you've got a cycle here. It's okay that that cycle goes back to the 50 and doesn't break that high. If that price came up to here, it broke that high, it would have made the setup invalid. Okay. All right. I'm going to go on to BUGSY now, unless there's anything else.
I don't see any other questions.
Any other questions on POGO before I go on to BUGSY? Now, guys, you will have an opportunity tomorrow. We can go back over. I'm going to send you the PDF of these setups, and we can talk about it in depth, because I want to talk a little bit about trade plan and how we'll actually modify our trade plan for these times tomorrow. Okay. All right. How do I stop this thing now?
Hit it with a hammer. Okay, so there's no questions coming in at this stage.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just reading Patricia's comment. That's well done, Patricia. Cool. Okay, I'm going to do another screen share. Excel spreadsheet. All right. BUGSY, on the other hand, behaved very well. Lots of setups, still within the 30 pips. Absolutely consistent, no change required. It is so stable over the past couple of weeks. At the end of last week, it was Friday. So after like a couple of weeks of considerable trading, therefore profit taking was natural. That's why there are a bunch of POGO setups. But all the way leading up to that point, you had consistent bouncing off the 8. We're in a black swan event, yet there is certainty. We are seeing that there is certainty in the technical analysis of these strategies. Does that make sense? That needs to be incredibly comforting for you. And I raised this to Ricardo earlier, and he agreed with me. He says, yes, it's absolutely, despite all the uncertainty, despite us experiencing something that we've never experienced before, the markets are not doing anything that unusual. There is just increased volatility, which we can turn to our advantage. Okay. So the setups on BUGSY, once you took the valid BUGSYs, and this is not all of them, I know there were more. This is just a handful of them. This is just over the past 2 weeks, guys. The ones that lost because the stop loss was 30, whereas if I made it 50 pips, it went on to make money. It wasn't a case of typically in the marketplace where we have. It's not a case of where we typically have where BUGSYs lose because price goes back to the 20 and sets up for a POGO. That's not what happened here. It still was a valid BUGSY, but we got pipped out. Because remember, a lot of BUGSYs, when you take them, they do hover in red for a while, don't they? Yeah. They do. Yeah. They hover in red for a while before they actually go back and take off again. It's just one of the funnies about BUGSY, but characteristics. But in this case, it went back to it just hovered a bit, went back, pipped you out, just like by 33 pips or 34 or 40 pips, but 50 pips was generally okay. So you have a choice. You can either, and it depends on how you feel. You know, today might really allay uncertainty for you, and you might find that you're actually really happy to continue as always, because you're feeling more comfortable with everything that we've shared today. Or you might want to err on a more cautious side and increase the stop loss. And Matt will be doing a webinar on Wednesday about how you're going to actually do that. And when you've made your decision by Wednesday, okay, you've included it in your trade plan, he's going to do a webinar open to all club members and tech intensive people that on how you're actually going to do that. Am I correct, Matt? Okay. So he will show you on Wednesday that how to do that. But other than that, I mean, if you're not using Trade Manager, guys, oh my gosh, you
clearly don't love money.
Seriously need to be using Trade Manager. Okay, it is just running, and these are conservative. These are conservative that I've used. These like 4-to-1s, 5-to-1s. You can actually squeeze more out depending on how you're using Trade Manager. I have actually been conservative. So if I just go and have a look at questions before I go open the charts. Sometimes you've got to click on this for it to bring up.
Close that down, yeah, I get that.
Thank you. Okay, what is the status? BUGSY taking into consideration the market condition, the indices? All right, do you think, Mara, right now is a good time to learn a new strategy? Forex or, well, not Forex, but not Forex. Forex is okay. Learn a new strategy, learn a new strategy in indices. I don't think it's a good time. It really isn't a good time for indices because we are seeing greater movements than in anything else right now. Yeah. So I'm not happy to release it. You know, if it was a Forex strategy, I would. But as it's an indices, I'm not happy to release it. And I just think, you know, at the moment, and I think Ricardo said it today, that certainly in Forex is where the opportunity lies right now. So he said that, didn't he? Yeah. So that's where we'll stick to. Let's capitalize. Let's build our account. Let's build our techniques and our technical and our mindset ability to trade Forex powerfully now. We will be releasing iBugsy when we get to the side of this.
Yeah, and everyone who's in the full tech intensive will obviously get their 3 months.
Yeah, whoever's in the tech intensive, in the full tech intensive, you will get the access to iBugsy. Even if it takes another 3 months, you will get it. Okay, so just bear with us on that. Okay. There's just no point in putting it out. I promise you guys. I mean, it's not been tested. I can't say to you that it's going to do X, Y, and Z. You know, I just can't. I got so much history with POGO and BUGSY that I'm really comfortable in my certainty level.
I think the other thing about the way the markets are at the moment, you couldn't test anything using current data.
Yeah, on the indices. Yeah. All right. So should we take a look at... Again, I will be sending this out to you. I will post it in POGO Traders and our Skype and Facebook group. Take a wee breath.
Yeah, while you're taking a breath, Jerry asked, is there a tutorial on Trade Manager? There is a video in your POGO membership site right at the top, and you can probably do a search in the search facility.
I'm going to show you where that is actually. But you can do a search as well. Yes, we'll do the watch live stream in half an hour. Maro, does that answer your question? We're going to do the live stream in half an hour on this webinar. No, on this webinar. We never do live stream on Facebook.
No.
The live stream is being done on the same webinar. You don't have to log out.
Yeah, don't log out, anyone. At 1:30, we're going to do the standard live stream. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing this. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I'm going to do something for Jerry. Okay, stay here. Cool. I just want to show everybody, because I think it's not just Jerry that needs this. There's a lot of people not using
Trade Manager.
Okay, just bear with me a sec, guys. Why isn't it not showing? There it is.
Are you sure?
Thanks. That's it there. There's your trade. That's a video tutorial on Trade Manager. And you can make it bigger. And there's beautiful Tiny.
Very beautiful.
Okay. So that's where you'll find a tutorial on Trade Manager. And again, you can do a search for hey.
Trade Manager, also known as cash cow.
So there it is. There's Trade Manager as well. So I really hope that everything we're sharing today really helps Trade Manager cash cow. Love it. I really hope today embeds a lot for you guys. This Black Swan event, guys, do you know how beautiful a Black Swan is? All right, it's just exquisite. It's just absolutely exquisite. There are a lot of benefits to be gained at this time. A lot, okay? A lot, especially with tribal traders. Okay.
Is it tutorial on the trade placer?
You don't need a tutorial.
No, you don't need, no. But there is a guide, a how-to guide in Nick. Pop that into the Q&A stuff, and I'll dig it out. It's very, very old. You don't really need it, but I can dig one out for you. If you put that into the Q&A. Not Q&A, yeah, Q&A questions.
On the form.
On the form.
Yeah.
On the form. Okay. All right. Give me a sec. Yeah, BUGSY setups. Okay, so BUGSY, let's go back to the beginning. We just had incredible, like, there's BUGSY. And the beauty here as well, here's the thing as well, guys, if you're trading BUGSY during this time, because of the volatility, scaling in is wicked, because by the time the bar comes back to the 8, 9 times out of 10, the one thing I realized going past over the past 2 weeks, 9 times out of 10, in fact, I think it was 100% of the time, by the time price went back and interacted with the 8 to give you another opportunity to get in, you'd already banked 1% and you were potentially a few percent up on the other one, on your second one, all right? So now's the time to master Trade Manager and scaling in, all right? Now's your time. Tiny, you're doing a session on Trade Manager tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tiny will do a session tomorrow on Trade Manager. So now's the time to actually master that. So as soon as your BUGSY trade executes, put BUGSY Learner back on, and most likely, what if the past 2 weeks continues like it has? If what's happened over the past 2 weeks continues, the chances are that you'll be scaling in with your more often than you would have had opportunity before, because the first trade on your first entry into the instrument will have closed in profit. Okay. There are only, I would say, 4 or 5 times of all the opportunities that there are available in BUGSY that you'd have lost because it pipped you out. Whereas if you had had a 50 pip stop loss, you would be still in it. Now, here's the thing about a 50 pip stop loss that you need to consider, is that with a wider stop, your return is less. Now, obviously, guys, it goes without saying, all right? We're wealth builders, we're money managers, so therefore it goes without saying that when you are when you're increasing your stop loss, you equally increase your take profit. We never trade an inverse risk to reward to risk, right? Reward to risk. We never do that. All right. So if you're increasing your stop loss to 50 pips, you increase your take profit to 50 pips on the first trade. On the second trade, because you're now going to be using Trade Manager, your second trade, you will change that, and not Andrew, Matt will show you on Wednesday. All right, he'll show you in detail, but there's plenty of places you can actually find how to do that already. Your second trade take profit needs to be like a 5,000 or something like that. Okay. So make sure that before you actually click OK and put BUGSY on, the executor on, that your second trade take profit is pushed way out and that you're using Trade Manager straight away. Okay. So that's the one thing. With a wider stop, you need a wider take profit. The other thing with a wider stop is it will keep you in trades where you might get pipped out with a 30 pip tight stop, but your reward to risk, it can go one of two ways. Your reward on a wider stop can give you lower multiples, but equally a wider stop gives you more breathing space. So you'd be kept in a trade longer as well. If that makes sense. So you've got to weigh it up because you're going to be following by 50 pips, for example, at least. So they've got more leeway. So you might run a bit more. So it swings and roundabouts. That makes sense. Things to consider. Okay. First world problems. How to squeeze an extra 3 or 4% from the market with each trade. Seriously is first world problem. Okay. I mean, again, here's just an example. There's no if, but, maybes. I mean, you cannot say, oh, is that a setup? Not sure. Maybe is it? I mean, there's just such clarity on the actual setups, isn't there? Now, Anthony, you're probably thinking, if Anthony Cook is still on, you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's great. Wonderful. Lots of setups, 127 or whatever the number was. But how many of them would the broker put me in on? Fair point. Is Anthony on?
Yeah, Anthony's on.
Yeah. Fair point. Absolutely 100%. There will be times, make no mistake, with this level of volatility that you'll have an executor on, beautiful setup, really magnificent. You've done all your work and the fucking thing just goes without you. All right. That is going to happen. There's no way I can actually back test for that. Okay. And I know, Anthony, you had a perturbing incident of that happening. In fact, I don't think it executed for anybody. I think it was a Euro AUD. It didn't execute for anybody. And that is going to happen. All right. It is going to happen from time to time. It's just one of those things. All right. And it's a bitch. It's annoying, but it's just one of those things. And I think during this time, it's something we need to accept. Okay. Because as much as there are great opportunities, there's going to be equal challenges, and the challenges are going to be different to what we would normally have, right? So we may well have two things happen more frequently than normal. One, we don't get in because the broker doesn't have time to fill it, okay, before prices move too far. Because remember, Tiny has a code in there that will stop you getting in once prices move too far, okay? And that is to cater for times like this where by the time the broker is filled it, price has already moved almost to what you would have been one-to-one. You don't want to be getting in there, okay? So that's a protective thing that Tiny's built into the code. So that's going to happen. The other thing is you're going to now and again occasionally be in when you're in the unfortunate position of the spreads being super wide, okay? And you could be kicked out or whatever.
Or you could knock that in as well.
You could, yeah, that's the other thing.
Sorry.
That's another thing as well. It might not necessarily be that the broker wasn't able to fulfill, but it also was the spread in that moment could have been very wide. Yeah. And because we're in these uncharted territory and uncharted waters, the incidences of that happening will be more frequent and not just around rollover.
Would it be prudent with increasing the stop loss to also increase the spread of
not changing that.
No. Okay. No. Yeah. And sorry guys, if I could just say something just on the spread. I often get this question, or I frequently get this question in the support camp. People say, oh, I saw the spread and the spread was fine. I'm going to put it to you that you didn't see the spread. You might have seen the spread, but you didn't see the spread at the time that you had hoped the trade would execute. Ricardo said it again today. In times of high volatility, per tick, the spread can change, and it can jump, and the next tick changes down. Now, unless you are extremely fortunate and you have some sort of thing on your screen that you can actually see the spread from tick to tick accurately, you won't even see that. Okay, so that's something just to bear in mind. The spread can and does change, and it can change quite radically, very rapidly, and go straight back.
I can't remember. It's going to sound like a stupid question. I also can't remember. Stop levels.
Stop levels. Yes, stop levels do sometimes change. So we do protect against volatile stop levels as well.
Yeah, that's another thing, guys. The spread might be within 5 pips. If you, as Tony said, were in a position where you saw the spread at that moment in time, it could be stop levels that are keeping you out, and that is, you're unlikely to be seeing that at the same time.
No, you won't be seeing that. You won't be seeing that. It's not something that people would look at. No. So the stop levels, some brokers, as Ricardo was saying this morning, brokers have different
commercial basis.
And I do know, I've seen it specifically on IG, that they use the stop levels like other brokers use spread. So they widen the stop levels. And that's not really a problem for tracing and placing a manual trade, but when you're placing an executor, that applies to the trades placed automatically. So yeah, that could keep you out as well.
Right. Yeah. Right. So
we've got a question: if the spread spikes, can the EA to look to retry?
So Patricia, your question was, if the spread spikes, can the EA look to retry? Yes, if it is, and it will, if everything is within the parameters that it allows.
Yeah.
So it does. It will try a retry.
How many times?
I can keep doing it as long as the
till the time runs out.
Till the time runs out.
Yeah.
Or so basically, if it's interacting, and each tick it'll try a retry.
Yeah.
But then what's happening if the price is moving very fast?
Yeah.
It will get beyond the price.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Patricia.
That's a very good question.
So yeah, so BUGSY and POGO does do that. Is that right?
Yep.
Does do that?
That does that, actually.
Is that good English? I'm not sure. It does do that. Anyway, they do it, but there are inhibitors built into the code that ensure that you don't get in it doesn't allow you to get in too late.
You don't want to get in like 100 pips after you wanted to get in.
Yeah, or especially with BUGSY, if it keeps on trying for 4 hours when the price has just been going sideways, and therefore lost momentum, you don't want to be getting in then.
That's Paul. Sorry, we've been saying Patricia. Now, Paul, it was a stupid question. Patricia had asked it.
All right, Paul, great question. So yeah, so Tiny has built-in safety structures that it does keep on trying, but only if it's still a high probability setup. Right. Okay, so let's look at Euro USD. Where is it? Euro, yeah, we did that. We did cable. I mean, I don't know what more to speak about, really. It's just like these drops are exactly what we're needing. Here, I like this more momentum, this USD CAD type momentum. But these are smaller. So like these ones gave 1-to-1s. Only one of them gave a 4-to-1 because of the smaller bars, because it went and came back, went and came back, went and came back. Whereas it's these longer bars that give the 4 and the 8s and the 10s and so on. And that's like more the style that we would typically be trading. A bit like this. Hold on. So here you can see they are somewhat bigger bars. And again, during this time, we got to get comfortable with the fact that we're trading bigger bars, because we normally don't trade big bars in BUGSY, do we? So we need to be comfortable trading slightly bigger bars, because they are going to be bigger bars. Otherwise, we won't trade. Okay, the BUGSY is good for this type of setup. Okay, clearly there's nothing there. We wouldn't touch that. Again, euro pound. Euro pound, funny enough, wasn't great. No, it lost. Yeah. But there were, for me, there were only a couple of setups on euro pound, and they both lost. So the 13th at 12.16, this one, and the 16th, which is probably this one. Yeah, and they both lost. That's why I don't trade euro pound. But there again, you know, there's definitely valid setups. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed, there was a question from Ozano. It was a little while ago. I missed it.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a moment, my love, if that's okay. Obviously, my favorite, pound Swiss. Where's page 3? Pound Swiss. It did okay. Pound Swiss did okay. Pound Swiss is always good. Well, nearly always good. Just delete that. Some good setups there. What's that, Tiny?
Okay, so this was a point in time question. At 106, is GBP, is pound yen a POGO setup right now? Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, guys, the reason I'm asking it is not that I care about GBP yen, but if you have a question you really need answered, you need to put it in the Q&A box, okay?
We'll be doing the live stream in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then while you're taking your breath, Jerry, the webinar recording, we'll get it up as soon as we can. It's because it's a long webinar, it'll take an age to render. So
well, this morning's one is already up. I've already shared that this morning.
Yeah, so as soon as we can.
As soon as we can, yeah. And then it will. What is the price? How long? When will it be? When will it be available in the search, Tiny?
Oh well, it depends on. I can still copy the video. If I'm going to upload it or not. Yes.
So
I'll try upload it once we've got it. I'll upload it as well today.
Okay, so we'll try and get it into the search facility as well. All right. Okay. Would anyone mind? Does anyone have any questions on BUGSY right now? Does anyone have any questions at all right now? I want to take a 5-minute break before, because right now I am definitely not in a state to be reading the markets.
Yeah.
I need a 5-minute break to clear my head, go to the loo, have a glass of water.
Yeah, I think let's just call a break. People can put questions in and we can deal with it.
So can we take a 10-minute break, guys? Have a 10-minute pee break. We've been at it now for a couple of hours, and see you in a moment. Let's get back.
We'll be back on at 12:30.
At 12:30, 8 minutes time. Cool bananas, guys. Thanks a mil. And pretend there's some romantic music. Actually, where's Alexa?
I've unplugged the bitch.
All right, well, I'm just going to turn the sound off. I'm going to turn the sound off, and I'm going to turn the video off. All right? But it doesn't mean that we're gone. Kevin can sing.
Born really one.
All right, guys, everyone back? Oh, that feels better. Feel re-energized. Awesome. Cool. So we're going to see what the market has for us this afternoon then, shall we?
Cabbages.
Okay. You're there, Ruth. That's brilliant. Okay. All right. Okay. We saw this morning that, let's go through. We saw this morning that this had actually triggered already. I'm using my wrong hand. I need to use my left hand. This is already triggered here. Okay. And it had gone, it went down there and it went up there and it lost. Okay. It lost this morning. So we definitely need to wait for a lower low for that. So nothing on Aussie dollar. And certainly not BUGSY. Okay, so Euro USD. It's not a cycle, it's just all going sideways there, isn't it? I don't, what, that's a low. To me, that's just more sideways. I don't like that cycle much at all. So I would leave it. Cable, I think we saw that it took up here and did quite well. Made a few, did I have that on the list? It did, if you ignored the movement, because remember we counted it was 333 or something like that. It would have actually did quite well back here. Okay. So we need to wait for a lower low for cable. Pretty much the same with Kiwi dollar as well. It's already taken here. Okay. So if we look at it, it would have gone down to there. So it would have got a 1-to-1 and the second trade would be closed. So now we have to wait for a lower low or when BUGSY trend hits. USD CAD, again, I think it actually executed already. So actually would have made a would have made a 1-to-1, sorry, 1-to-1 today because it went back to break even. Okay, so again, and now it's consolidating. You know, we need to, according to the rules of the strategy, we need to wait for it to make a high. So far, nothing. USD Swiss, we have one cycle, another cycle. So POGO alerter, like we had on this morning, we still have POGO alerter on. We had Kiwi dollar BUGSY alerter. We're taking that off now. There's no longer a BUGSY alerter. I'm not happy with BUGSY alerter there at all. Euro USD, USD CAD, USD Swiss. Done that. USD yen. I'm going to keep POGO alerter on USD yen. Euro AUD. This is sort of the end of phase 2. It hasn't actually triggered. Yes, it has triggered. And let's have a look here. It triggered and it probably would have got a 3-to-1. Can you believe it? Look at the size of that bar.
Wow. And
that would have made a 3-to-1. Just want to double check that. So price would have come down taken you in. Just hold on. No, it actually would have lost. Sorry, guys, this one would have lost. That trade would have lost. So you'd have been taken in here. Yeah, and the price would have gone straight down and would have lost. So let's leave that one. EuroCAD, technically it actually broke, that's a broke trend because there's the low, made a high and broke that low, so it's broken trend, so it's not, and besides it's actually ranging, it's no longer trending. So we leave EuroCAD. Euro-Swiss is a mess. Don't touch it. Euro-Pound, I think that's already executed. Here is where it would have executed. So I have to say it's quite challenging doing this analysis here. So this one, Euro-Pound, actually would have been a really good one. Would be a really good one if you got in. Again, excuse me. Measuring from the apex of phase 2, right, the body, to the highest part before it would have executed, which is up here, including the wick, yeah, that's 226 pips. Okay, then it came back and executed here, and you would have actually got a good return on that. So when trading POGO, this is the sort of thing you're going to be dealing with over the next few weeks, potentially. So the decision is, do you want to increase your stop loss, or are you happy to use POGO with Trade Manager and get more multiples to 1, being okay with a lower success rate, but you make that up in your multiples to 1 on the winning trades.
One says, did Euro GBP hit stop loss? I don't know if this means it did it. No, it hit stop loss or...
Sorry, I can't hear you, Tony.
Joran says, did Euro GBP hit stop loss? I'm not sure if he means he actually placed it and it hit stop loss.
It could have. It's close. It could have.
It depends on the spread, yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the spread. It could have. It could have in that moment. Did you take it? I don't think Joran took it. Did you?
No, it says open thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
So it might have, depending on the spread.
It might have, but it might not have. Yeah, if it was normal spreads this morning, you probably would have been in it by the skin of your teeth. Euro NZD. I think that's already taken as well. We're waiting for higher high anyway. But it's not a really nice setup, so leave that. Pound Oz, nothing. Pound CAD, leave it. And Pound Swiss, I'm sure, has already executed. Yeah, it has executed here. See that bar there?
Oh yeah, just touched it.
So, and you would be out on that one as well. So that's where it executed. That's where it went to. It's like 20 pips or thereabouts. Then it went back. Now that went back to 58 pips before it actually went and took off again. Again, measuring how far it's gone into phase 1. For Jerry and Cheryl, you're taking it from the apex of phase 2 all the way down to the lowest part, so 287 pips. So that one actually lost as well based on the 30 pips. One of the things that, the reason why you're getting the losses here on these valid POGO setups, in my opinion, is that you've got such volatility, you've got such big bars, such a lot of movement in them. And I think it's to be expected. But, I mean, if you look at all these POGOs that set up on Friday, they're the result of massive, massive trading, and it's profit taking. Do you want to base standard trading based on one incident of profit taking? Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, Karen? Yeah. Does everyone understand what I mean by that? I mean, we could have more POGO setups over the next few days. That is just standard trading and not the result of significant profit taking. These are all things we don't know and things that we need to be mindful of. Watch the patterns moving forward. Pound Kiwi, nothing. And Aussie Yen, I think that has executed. It has indeed. And that went to, let me just zoom in on this one. I want to just get, they went up to 21 pips. Yeah, that's probably lost as well. Okay, that's probably lost as well. Nothing on CAD yen, nothing on Swiss, Euro, Pound yen. That was the trade executing here. Let me zoom in on that. Does everybody know what I'm doing? So no one's lost, yeah? So this trade would have executed here, went down like that. So that most likely, if you spread beta, that's a 1-to-1. That's 29 pips or thereabouts. I'm pretty sure that would have been a 1-to-1 on pound yen, which seems like so small, doesn't it? Considering those massive moves. So pretty much the same with Kiwi. This is why we said this morning that maybe this morning wasn't the best time to trade. We wanted to see what the market was going to do. So we probably would have got squeezed a 1-to-1. Let's squeeze a 1-to-1 out of Kiwi yen. Aussie CAD as well would be the same. Aussie Swiss would be the same as well. Yep, that's executed. You don't want to be taking any of these now. This might be Aussie Kiwi, Kevin's favorite. You might want to look at Aussie Kiwi actually as a POGO alerter. I'm going to put Aussie Kiwi, POGO alerter. Okay, it's funny bars, like Razor Clan bars, but let's see. It's certainly a cycle to the upside. Let's see what it looks like. Coming down, let's see what it looks like. Anyone who wants some discussion over it, by all means, when you get the second alert, let's have some discussion about it in the groups, okay? CAD Swiss, nothing. It's just really going sideways. Kiwi CAD, nothing. Okay, Kiwi Swiss, nothing. And USD Singapore dollar, we'll put BUGSY alerter and POGO alerter on that. So to sum up, okay, I just want to, this morning, I had Kiwi dollar BUGSY alerter, which we're not putting on now, but I also had Euro USD on this morning. Now it's funny, Euro USD, I was okay this morning with putting POGO alerter. Now that I look at it now, I'm not okay with it. Okay, it's not working for me any longer. I'm going to stick with that. So I'm not putting POGO alerter on this afternoon. Okay, and that's how I feel, and I'm going to trust that. I don't need evidence. I don't need to justify it. I'm okay with it. Okay, so, one thing I did forget to do was gold. Blood. Okay, clearly there's nothing in blood. Okay, we shall leave gold to do its funny thing. So what we've got is POGO alerter on USD Swiss, USD Yen, Aussie Kiwi, and USD Singapore dollar. We have BUGSY alerter only on USD Singapore dollar. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. It's a wrap.
You have two questions.
Yeah.
I think this is Alexander, yeah. He says, when would you consider putting BUGSY on after 20/50 H4 EMA has been touched?
Okay, and the next question?
Is Ruth, I think there's 3 or 4 charts on the end. I'm lost because why didn't the trade trigger higher after crossover? Ruth, maybe put the instrument in which you're talking about.
Yeah, so yeah, just put the instrument in, Ruth, while I answer Alex's question. Alex, there's no hard and fast rule. No hard and fast rule on that. That is a simple matter of allowing the chart, come on, allowing the chart to tell you. Let's see if I can see an example. Oh, hold on, it might help if I'm on the 4 hour. Looks up. Okay, so here we have price had come in, not a cycle, but it came back. It really depends on the smoothness of the ATMA, to be honest with you, and the extent of momentum. I'm just trying to find examples, bear with me. So, like you had this massive, who remembers that?
Still nightmares on it.
So like here, there's nowhere here because that I would be interested in, because like it's just all the bars are just interacting. It's what I call sort of almost razor clam. That's very difficult to trade. That's not what we're looking at. We're not what we're looking for. It's now we're starting to look at now, like there would be the first time I would be interested in with that. So here we have price to cycle, price interaction. Like now they've got nice even bars, so I'll be interested there. There interacts, but I would still be interested there because the 8 is smooth, and you've got definite momentum to the downside. You can see there's momentum. So there's no hard and fast rule. Like there's another cycle up to the 8, up to the 20, sorry. I would have BUGSY alerter on here. And you'd probably get the 2 alerts here, and you put it on, it might win or it might lose. There's another one. But here I would put it on again. It goes up to the 20, becomes a POGO setup, takes off. The 8, I'm guided by the smoothness of the 8 and the direction of the 8. There's another setup. Could be a setup there, and another one, and another one. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so is it fair enough? So basically, you always consider EMA smoothness and price action.
Yes, 100%. All right, cool bananas. All right, guys, did everyone get value from this morning? It was a marathon. We started very early, and it has been a marathon. Did anyone get value from it? Lots. Brilliant. Good, good, good. Cool. Who loved Ricardo? He was cool, wasn't he? Hello, Dewey. Jeez, hi. You kept very quiet. Stu, where were you? Nick. Nick has asked a question. Lucia, cool bananas. All these people that haven't been vocal. Hope you got all your questions answered, though. Milena, great. That's awesome. Cheryl, that's great. Paul, excellent. Oh, hello, Tom. Hello, Tom. So, excellent. So, are you ready for another cracking day tomorrow? Okay. we will start. I can't remember what time we start tomorrow. Can I just get in here?
Tomorrow we start at 6:45.
Normal time tomorrow. So yes, tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have an overview of what happened today. Okay, let's see. So we'll do a quick overview of what happened today, and then we'll do a live stream. Matt's on this week, so maybe Matt, you and I can do the live stream together online. And then we'll look at the trade plan and the trade manager. Then I'm going to send you a quiz, and there'll be a prize, and we'll go through those valid setups, not valid setups, and we'll do another watch list, and then we'll have Raz from Infinux. Okay, I always like to get different perspectives. Night out with Mr. Bates. No night out with Mr. Bates. No. There's nowhere to go.
Nope.
Unless we go and take a beer and sit in the park somewhere in the middle of the night. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for turning up. Thank you for all your questions. And don't forget to use the form if there's anything specific you want me to address tomorrow. All right.
Have a great day, guys.
Yeah, the parks will be shut soon.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye.